Hello friends, today's lecture is on metabolism of drugs where we will discuss different pathways of drug metabolism looking at the structural features of the drug. So let us start right with the lecture. Just a minute. So let us start with the reactions of drug metabolism. The drug metabolism, as we have seen, is divided into two phases. The first phase of drug metabolism involves various reactions which convert the compound into more water soluble or more hydrophilic compound. These reactions include oxidation, reduction, and hydrolysis. The phase 2 of drug metabolism is associated with making these hydrophilic metabolites or the compounds formed from phase 1 metabolism to water soluble compounds by conjugating them with different substances. The reactions are glucuronidation, sulfate conjugation, glycine conjugation, acetylation, and glutathione conjugation. The topic for today's lecture is various phase 1 metabolism reactions. So, let us start with different, as I mentioned earlier, there are oxidation reactions, there are reduction reactions, and there are hydrolysis reactions. So, let us start with the oxidation reactions because these form the major chunk of phase 1 reactions. So, the first type of reaction is aromatic hydroxylation. Aromatic hydroxylation means attachment of OH group to the aromatic ring. Okay, this occurs via formation of arene oxide. Now, what is an arene oxide? This is a substituted benzene. There are 3 double bonds. Out of these 3 double bonds, one double bond is broken and an epoxide is formed. Okay, this sort of epoxide is formed. This epoxide is a 3-membered strain ring, so it breaks very easily. To restore the aromaticity, and hydroxy group is introduced. Now, in humans, most of this aromatic hydroxylation occurs at para position, whereas it occurs at mostly at meta position in dogs. And this difference in metabolism has to be remembered in veterinary medicine. So, let us try to see some examples of aromatic hydroxylation. Here, the first drug is propranolol. Okay, O, CH2, CHOH, CH2, and then isopropylamine. Okay, so aromatic hydroxylation, as I mentioned, occurs at para position, and therefore, this is para to the propranolol side chain, and therefore hydroxylation occurs at para position. So what happens is here there is a OH group introduced. This is the metabolite, one metabolite of propranolol. Similarly, this is the structure of phenobarbital. In phenobarbital also, there is one aromatic ring. And this aromatic ring is hydroxylated at para position. As we have discussed, the aromatic hydroxylation occurs at para position. Likewise, in phenytoin, one of the rings which is present is hydroxylated at para position. This arrow indicates the point of attachment of hydroxy group. In phenylbutazone also, one of the rings, just like phenytoin, one of the rings is hydroxylated, that is OH is attached over here. In case of ethynyl estradiol, there is only one aromatic ring and the para position of the ring is not free. Okay, there cannot be any substituent at this para position, and therefore the position number 2, that is ortho to this, is hydroxylated. Now, why not this? That is because if position 2 is hydroxylated, it is para to this substituent. I hope everybody is understanding this. And therefore, the hydroxylation occurs at position 2. Okay. In case of warfarin also, the substitution of hydroxy can occur over here, or it even occurs over here because this is a substituent. Same is the case with amphetamine. In case of amphetamine, at para position on the ring, OH is substituted. So this is about aromatic hydroxylation. So if there is an aromatic ring with a para position free, you can safely write aromatic hydroxylation as one of the metabolite. Now this will reduce your remembering part, but you may have to remember the major metabolite. Okay. Second is oxidation of olefins. Olefins meaning alkenes containing carbon-carbon double bond. Okay. So, olefinic bond, just like the aromatic hydroxylation, the olefin is also oxidized to epoxide. Have a look at this. This is carbamazepine. There is a 10-11 double bond over here. And when it is oxidized by liver microsomal system, it gets oxidized to carbamazepine 10-11 epoxide. Some of the epoxides are stable, and such epoxides directly conjugate with glutathione as a phase 2 reaction. But most of the epoxides are broken down. Now, when an epoxide is broken down, you know that a trans 1,2-diol is formed. Okay, so this epoxide breaks down and a trans diol. Have a look at this. Is this a trans diol? It is a trans diol, right? Because this is pointing forward and this is pointing backwards. These two OH are pointing in the opposite direction. Okay. Likewise in protryptyline. In protryptyline also, there is a double bond, and so it will be converted to trans diol via its epoxide. Same is the case with cyproheptadine. There is a 10-11 double bond, and this double bond is preferentially converted to epoxide more than this double bond. Okay. This double bond is converted to epoxide and then to trans diol. In case of alkophenol, there is a double bond, terminal double bond. And this terminal double bond is converted to epoxide. Subsequently, the epoxide is converted to trans 1,2-diol. So, when there is a double bond, this double bond is more easily converted to epoxide and the epoxide converted to trans 1,2-diol. The double bond can be part of the ring also, or double bond can be part of the chain as is here. But remember, a double bond that is at the junction of two rings is not so easily converted to its epoxide. Then coming to the third reaction, that is benzylic oxidation. Okay. To understand this, I want you all to understand the benzylic carbon. You remember that this is a benzyl carbocation. Okay. So, a benzyl carbocation contains 7 carbons. Okay. The phenyl ring and 1 carbon directly attached to it outside the ring. That is called as a benzyl system. And have a look here. This is imipramine. Okay. Look at this structure of imipramine. This carbon is directly attached to the benzene ring. Okay. So this is CH2 and this is benzene ring. So this carbon or likewise this carbon, both are equivalent. They are attached directly to the benzene ring. And so they can easily get hydroxylated. That is called as a benzylic oxidation. So what will happen in benzylic oxidation is OH will get attached over here. Okay. In this case, what will happen in benzylic oxidation? What will happen? Just a minute. What will happen either here or here? OH will get attached. In this case, this is not a drug, but this is an environmental toxicant. Here also, either at this position, because this is benzylic position, this carbon is directly attached to the aromatic ring. Or this position, carbon is attached directly to the aromatic ring. So, such benzylic carbon positions are very easily oxidized, and during this oxidation, what is attached directly is the OH group at benzylic position. Just try to understand the benzylic position. Benzylic position is the carbon which is directly attached, aliphatic carbon, which is directly attached to phenyl ring. Note everywhere that this is alicyclic or aliphatic carbon. Look at this. This is aliphatic carbon. All others are. This is aliphatic carbon. So, such aliphatic carbon is then converted to, just a minute, this is converted to CHOH. Okay, one H is replaced, so it is converted to CHOH. So identify the benzylic carbon and please know that the benzylic carbon is oxidized by attachment of OH. The resultant compounds are alcohols, and these alcohols have 2 different pathways to follow. One pathway is alcohols can directly be conjugated with glucuronic acid and excreted. The second pathway is the primary alcohols which are formed may be further oxidized to acids and secondary alcohols to ketones. Now, oxidation of primary alcohols to acids converts them to more water-soluble compounds, and therefore that is a preferred pathway. Next is allylic oxidation. Now, please try to recollect the allylic carbon. You have studied this type of carbocation. Okay. This is the allyl carbocation. This is allyl carbocation. Now, this allyl carbocation is a very stable carbocation because this can resonate and form 2 equal resonating structures. Okay. Therefore, substitution at such carbon becomes easier. Now, look at this. This is quinidine. Now, what happens over here? CH2, CH, and then CH. This is the allyl carbon. Okay. This allyl carbon gets hydroxylated by allylic oxidation. So OH comes here. Now, quinidine therefore gets converted to 3-hydroxyquinidine. Sometimes this pathway, that is allylic oxidation pathway, can be a bioactivation pathway. And this can give rise to carcinogens, particularly hepatocarcinogens. Okay. So that is about allylic oxidation. Now coming to the next part, that is aliphatic side chain oxidation. There are two pathways for aliphatic side chain oxidation. The first pathway is oxidation of the terminal carbon. Okay. Oxidation of the terminal carbon of the chain. Terminal is towards the end. So this carbon. Okay. Or this carbon. Both these are terminal carbons. So oxidation of terminal carbon converts the CH3 to CH2OH. Okay. Since the terminal carbon is called as omega carbon, this oxidation reaction is known as omega oxidation. Okay. Sometimes what happens? Apart from terminal carbon, the penultimate carbon is oxidized. Okay. So this is the side chain, alkyl chain of chloropropamide. This is omega carbon, but this is called as omega -1 carbon. So what happens in chloropropamide? The omega -1 oxidation takes place. Okay. So this is shown over here. Have a look at this. The CH2 in this omega -1 carbon has been converted to omega -1 oxidation. Here are examples of some more omega -1 oxidations. This one is meprobamate. There is a side chain. And in this side chain, omega -1 oxidation occurs. This is the omega -1 carbon. This is then oxidized to CHOH. Similarly, in case of glutathione, the omega -1 carbon is oxidized to CHOH. Likewise, ethosuximide, the ethyl group oxidized. In phenylbutazone, there is a 4-carbon chain and the penultimate carbon is oxidized to CHOH. Okay. Next are oxidations at carbons which are alpha to carbonyl and imines. First, have a look at carbons which are alpha to imine. This carbon is alpha to imine. Okay, imine meaning C double bonded. So this carbon is alpha to imine and this carbon is oxidized by attachment of OH group. This is a very common metabolic pathway in benzodiazepines. Now in glutathione, look at the carbon number 4. That is alpha to ketone. This pathway is less common. Oxidation of carbon alpha to ketone is less common as compared to imine. But still, these pathways also exist. And particularly in case of glutathione, hydroxylation at the carbon, which is alpha to carbonyl, occurs and gives an alcohol metabolite. Okay. So with that, we have completed half the part of drug metabolism reactions, and rest of the reactions we will see in the next part. So till then, thank you very much